Hello, and thank you for giving us another opportunity to spend some time with you on Stairway to Health, brought to you by Health Experts Canada. We've got some great ideas, new information, and hopefully a few laughs for you today. Who knows? If you're not careful, you may learn something.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Stairway to Health. I'm your host, Frank Peary.
And I'm Marilyn Mitchell.
And today, Marilyn, I'd like to talk about balance.
Balance?
A
Right.
balanced body. What does it mean to have a balanced body? What does it mean to be balanced? And I'm not always talking mentally here, but just in terms of one's physical health and well-being. Let me give you an example. Years ago, many years ago, when we first started out in practice, we had clients that came to us that were smokers. Okay.
Yes, we did.
They knew it was an unhealthy habit. They didn't like it, but maybe they weren't ready to quit so easily at the time. One of the things that we used to say to them was to help balance out the fact that they were smoking, they should be taking nutritional supplementation like high doses of vitamin C and bioflavonoids to help improve the lung tissue and lung health, right? Something to help protect the lungs. Nowadays, there's lots of different lung support supplements out there, NAC and so forth, N-acetylcysteine, amazing products that can help with lung health, even mushrooms. There's medicinal mushrooms now to help with lungs and breathing. But the point I'm making is that if they weren't ready to quit when they came to see us, we were at least trying to give them something to, well, in essence, compensate for what they were doing.
Right. That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when we talk about body balance, there's a lot of people out there that, like to indulge in certain things on a regular basis. Maybe they're unaware of the fact that they should be balancing out the negative activities with something more positive.
Right. Like, let's say that somebody, I'm just saying for a friend, would drink red wine. Maybe, with dinners more than once or twice a week.
Why are you looking at me?
No, I'm not. But I'm just suggesting that if that's something that you do and enjoy and in moderation, that's not a bad thing at all. But if you're going to do that, I would also suggest that you make sure that your dentist number is on your speed dial and have your teeth whitened a couple of times a year, because of the staining and that. So I'm not saying that you can't do that. I am simply suggesting that you compensate for what you are doing to, maybe make yourself
smile better.
A little less pink on the teeth.
Sure. Well, and to your point of the wine, I mean, I'll admit I do enjoy my red wine, right? And I'm Italian. I was raised with it. For me, growing up, they said it was like fruit juice. So, I mean, the idea of drinking red wine on a regular basis is fairly normal for people in my family. But one of the things that I stress to a lot of people is even though you may not overindulge in red wine on a regular basis, you should be doing something to help protect your liver, right? I mean, your liver is the main filtration system for the human body. Everything that comes into the body has to somehow, some way, shape, or form pass through the liver, and the liver usually filters out all the bad stuff, get you the good stuff, and out the rest goes.
Right.
But if your liver becomes sluggish because there's too much for it to do, because it becomes too toxic, then we got issues. We got problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
The liver's going to back up a lot of that negative stuff back into your system, and it's going to slow down the effects of how healthy you can be. So I think compensation for something like that would be liver support. There are a number of things here. What about overindulgence? You go out for dinner. Perfect example, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
You and I, we love to go out for dinner. Sometimes we're fortunate enough to even be taken out for dinner. But the point is, what happens when you overindulge? You eat way more when you go out for dinner than you would at home.
Well, what I do is clearly my willpower isn't always great when I go to a restaurant that has wonderful food. And, I try very hard. The last time I went out for dinner, the dessert menu came around and people were ordering. I didn't want to be left out, but on the same token, I was trying to be healthy. So I had one of those mini dessert thing, just a little tab of something. So I was feeling I did well, but that didn't make a difference because by the time I got home, I felt so full. I had had salads, I had had, proteins and carbs and everything else. So the next morning, knowing that, what I try to do is maybe for the day after, maybe just not eat as much as I would normally do on a day. Maybe I'd have bone broth or something for lunch and something a little lighter, or maybe quiche for dinner because it's a little lighter again. Give my body a chance to get over the night before shock and to digest properly. And then, the next day, day 3, you get back on being and doing what you
Normal routine.
normally do. Yeah. That doesn't mean I'm not going to go out for dinner and enjoy myself. It just means that I have to be balanced with the intake. So at the end of the week, if I was, which I don't do, but if I was counting calories, it would all work out in the wash. One night was a little more, the other day was a little less. That's
Sure.
all.
And you know what? I can totally attest to that. If I'm going to go heavy or go off track one evening, and we talk a lot about this with our clients, we talk about it as an 80-20 rule,
Right.
right?
Meaning 80%
yeah.
was the good side.
That's right. Staying committed to your
Yeah.
health and well-being 80% of the time, doing what you should be doing, and let yourself go 20%, over the course of a week.
Sure.
So whether it's a date night, whether it's a night out with the girls or a night out with the guys, or, after hockey or whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, if I overindulge one night where I wouldn't normally, I tend to use intermittent fasting as a way to help get my body back on track. So maybe the next day, I won't eat for several hours after I'm up. And I mean several. I may go 8 hours, I may go 10 hours before I have my first meal. And then, just like you finished saying, I'll start eating lighter foods, salads, right? Much easier, broths, soups, that type of thing. And it gives your body a chance to rebalance. So I think a balanced body, that's sort of what we're getting at.
Well, the other thing too is if you know in advance that you're going out, like if you're going to your family's house that have nothing but pastas and carbs, and you're going to eat that night, maybe that day you don't have a big lunch, you don't have a big breakfast.
Control your calories in advance.
And take advantage of the fact that you're not going to be able to stick to your regular routine because you're not going to say no to all that homemade pasta.
There's a great example you once gave me with respect to green superfood supplementation. I know how big a fan you are of green superfood supplementation.
Oh, yes.
But I am personally a very big fan. And you made a good point when we were talking about this. This was back at the beginning of the summer, I think, back in the spring. One of your habits, if you will, is once the locally grown fruits and vegetables come into season, you start to increase, of course, a lot of the greens and a lot more salads, a lot more greens, a lot more vegetables, because we're growing them in the back garden. And so we're indulging in a lot more of that. Whereas that tends to diminish come late fall into the winter, when it's more about root vegetables. And of course, so much of the produce is being imported. So when it comes to green superfood supplementation, you've always used the rule of using that supplement to its fullest capacity during the late fall and winter months.
Yeah, I do.
And then as we move into the spring and summer with all of that locally grown produce, you reduce your intake of the green superfood supplementation. So I think that's yet another prime example of how we balance out a body and how we use proper balance, when trying to attain and retain optimal levels of health and well-being.
Well, yeah, I think that all of us do that either consciously or subconsciously, because a lot of us who live in places that have 4 seasons, we eat seasonally. So, I mean, I'm always one that really waits for that first crop of strawberries to come in the summertime, and then I'll eat them every night. My downfall is the corn on the cob.
Man.
You wait, and all the other corn that you've had all year round is not bad. It's okay if you want it, but then you find a local farmer who's growing his own, and you do
non-GMO,
and it's
clean
just
corn on the cob.
so fresh. And then you eat it, and you eat it Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Talk about a detox, but it works for you. And then so you're balancing all of that. You get all the fresh foods and that, and like you said, now when it's a colder season, or you don't have the fresh produce anymore, then you sort of supplement with the greens product to make up for it.
And I think there's a lot of nutritional supplementation in the market today that actually helps us to achieve a more balanced body, whether it's hormonally, whether it's through blood sugar, whether it's by looking after our internal organs, cleansing, detoxification. And it's remarkable to me how, in order to maintain a proper balanced body, a healthy balance, we every once in a while need that sort of body reset. And that leads me into talking about, boosting your metabolism, kickstarting your journey towards better health, rebooting your metabolic performance and that healthy living. We call it a body reset. It's our next 7-day online metabolic activation challenge, and it's starting soon, Mare.
Yep.
It's only we're
pretty
not
soon.
far
We're
away.
just about there.
And it's 7 days, and it's a way to completely reboot and kickstart and reset your body, get things back into some level of balance. But if you want to find out more, folks, visit healthexpertscanada.com for more information. Like we said, that starts real soon, and we can't wait to get everybody into that next challenge and see some more transformative success stories.
It'll be fun.
That's a big one. Well, body balance, it's very important. I think we can both agree on that. And there's many different ways to approach it. But that's all the time we have for today. So I'm Frank Peary.
And I'm Marilyn Mitchell. And until next time, remember, health equals wealth. So that's all the time we have today, but there's still so much more to talk about and learn. Head over to healthexpertscanada.com for more ideas on healthy living, and don't forget to like, download, and share this podcast with your friends, just for the health of it.